The secret roots of Wing Chun. Imagine going way back in time, to a China torn apart by wars, foreign invasions, and people who literally had to reinvent how they fought just to survive. We're talking about the Ming dynasty, which ruled China from 1368 to 1644, and the beginning of the Qing dynasty, founded by the Manchus in 1644. That was the backdrop where one of the most mysterious and revolutionary martial arts in history was born, Wing Chun Quen. What makes Wing Chun so special from the start is that its story begins with a woman, the legendary Ng Mui, one of the 5 great masters of the Southern Shaolin Temple. The story goes that after the temple was destroyed by Qing forces, somewhere between the late 1600s and early 1700s, Ng Mui escaped to the mountains of Yunnan and Guangxi. There, surrounded by monks and rebels, she developed a new kind of martial art. One that wasn't about brute strength, but about being efficient, conserving motion, and using an opponent's own energy against them. Her inspiration came from something she saw, a fight between a crane and a snake. The bird attacked fast, straight, and sharp, while the snake dodged, coiled, and struck back in perfect timing. From that, a new system was born, one that ditched the long, fancy, and exaggerated kung fu forms, creating something practical, powerful, and adaptable. That's when Ng Mui met a young woman named Wing Chun, whose name literally means Song of Spring. Wing Chun was being forced to marry a local warlord, but she wanted to stay free. Ng Mui taught her the new system, and Wing Chun used it to defeat the man in a real fight. From that victory, the art got its name, Wing Chun Quen, the spring song boxing style. That moment changed everything. For the first time, a martial art wasn't created for warriors or soldiers, but for anyone, even someone smaller and weaker, to defend themselves against a stronger opponent. It was a quiet revolution in the martial world. Over the decades, Wing Chun was passed down in secret, from Wing Chun to her husband Lung Bok Chao, and then to other masters who shaped a deep and powerful lineage. One of the key figures was Lung Jan in the 1800s, known for organizing and refining the system. Then came the legendary Ip Man 1893-1972, the man who took Wing Chun from Fujian to Hong Kong, and from there to the entire world. Ip Man didn't just preserve the tradition, he modernized it, teaching students who would later become global icons like Bruce Lee. That bridge between the ancient and the modern world turned Wing Chun from a secret local art into an international symbol of discipline, precision, and power. Today, you can find schools all over Europe, the Americas, and Asia that trace their roots straight back to Ip Man. Every short strike, every block, every step still carries the philosophy born centuries ago from Ng Mui and Wing Chun. Win with intelligence, not with brute force. And this is just the beginning of our journey. We're going deep into the technical and philosophical elements that make Wing Chun unlike any other kung fu style. Here you'll get to explore every martial art, from the world-famous ones to the rare and almost forgotten. Here you'll get to explore every martial art, from the world-famous ones to the rare and almost forgotten. The philosophical and technical foundations of Wing Chun. Wing Chun isn't just a bunch of moves. It's, before anything else, a whole way of living, packed inside simple, direct strikes. Unlike other kung fu styles full of long forms, flips, and flashy movements, Wing Chun was born from the need to be fast, efficient, and real. It's a style made for real life, for those moments where every second decides who goes home and who doesn't. The first big idea behind Wing Chun is the center line. Imagine an invisible straight line that runs from the top of your head down through your body and straight to your opponent. That line is both your fastest path to attack and the most vulnerable part you need to protect. Everything in Wing Chun revolves around that line. If you control the center, you control the fight. That's what makes the system so devastating. Its brutal simplicity. Another key idea is economy of motion. Instead of wide, slow strikes, Wing Chun focuses on short, precise movements. Here, speed isn't just training, it's a mindset. The fighter learns there's no room for waste. The straight punch, called Lin Wan Kuan, chain punch, shows this perfectly. A storm of fast, direct punches that don't just hit. They push the opponent back, trapped under non-stop pressure. But maybe the most fascinating thing about Wing Chun is sensitivity. The practice called Chi Sao, the sticky hands, is the heart of the style. In it, two fighters keep their arms in constant contact, training to feel the opponent's next move. It's almost like a silent conversation, where touch reveals intention. This teaches you to react instinctively, not just by sight, because in a real fight, your eyes can fail you, but your sense of touch won't. The philosophy behind Wing Chun also connects deeply with everyday life. Its most famous saying, often credited to Ip Man, goes, "Be like water, adaptable to any container, but strong enough to cut through stone." That mindset shows that Wing Chun isn't rigid, it's flexible. It's not about following a script, but about adapting principles to any opponent, any situation. Another key part is using the whole body together. In Wing Chun, there's no isolated strength. Shoulders, hips, legs, and arms move as one, creating power without needing huge muscles. That's why this art is so accessible. Men, women, young or old, anyone can learn it and defend themselves. Wing Chun wasn't made for tournaments or performances. It was made for survival. Wing Chun wasn't made for tournaments or performances. It was made for survival during times of danger and persecution. Its fighters needed something that worked fast, even against armed enemies or multiple attackers. That's why the style has no showy moves. It's raw, direct, and merciless. Even its weapons follow the same logic. The famous butterfly knives, Ba Jam Du, and the long pole, Luk Dim Boon Guan, weren't for show. They were real tools for defense and combat. And the legendary wooden dummy, Mu Qianzhong, is the silent partner that trains precision, alignment, and reflex, without ever getting tired. At the core of it all lies one truth. Wing Chun isn't just about fighting someone else. It's about fighting yourself. It's about taming fear, disciplining your mind, and realizing that real victory starts inside. Next, we'll dive into Wing Chun's lineage, from its earliest disciples to the masters who shaped the art in the 19th and 20th centuries, leading to the impact of Ip Man and the worldwide explosion that came with Bruce Lee. The family tree of Wing Chun, masters, lineages, and the global explosion. When we talk about Wing Chun, we're not just talking about a martial art. We're talking about a living tree with deep roots and branches that have spread all over the world. That tree starts with the legendary nun Ng Mui, known as one of the 5 masters who survived the destruction of the Southern Shaolin Temple back in the 1600s during the Qing dynasty. Ng Mui is seen as a total game changer. She took the complicated moves of Shaolin and turned them into something faster, simpler, and easier to use for people who didn't have the raw strength of a warrior monk. She passed this knowledge down to a young woman named Wing Chun, whose name would later become the name of the style itself. Wing Chun used this art to defend herself from a local warlord who tried to force her into marriage. Her victory proved to everyone that the technique really worked, and that story became the seed of a whole new tradition. From there, Wing Chun started being passed down from one generation to the next. Leung Bok Chao, Wing Chun's husband, then Leung Lan Kwai, followed by Wang Wabo, who was actually an actor in the Chinese opera of Fujian. Wang Wabo teamed up with Leung Yi Tai, a boatman who specialized in using the long pole weapon, and together, they built those techniques right into the system. Later came Leung Zhan, 1826-1901, one of the biggest masters of the 19th century, known as the King of Wing Chun. He made the style famous in Foshan, turning it into a martial arts reference for the whole region. Among his students was Chan Hua Shun, 1836-1906, nicknamed Money Man because he worked at a money exchange shop. Chan Hua Shun only had about 16 official students, and the last one would end up changing Wing Chun forever. Ip Man, 1893-1972. Ip Man didn't just protect the tradition, he modernized it. After escaping to Hong Kong during the Chinese Civil War, he started teaching in local gyms in a fast-paced modern city environment. That's where Wing Chun evolved from a secret art passed in tight circles to a worldwide phenomenon. Ip Man developed better teaching methods, organized the forms, and kicked off what would become a cultural explosion. Some of his students became legends. Leung Ting, who later founded the International Wing Chun Association. Wang Shun Leung, famous for his real street fight experience and no-nonsense fighting style. And of course, Bruce Lee, the student who took Wing Chun all the way to Hollywood and beyond. Bruce Lee never actually finished the system, but what he did learn from Ip Man completely shaped his thinking. From that foundation, he created Jeet Kune Do, a philosophy that taught getting rid of the unnecessary and chasing pure efficiency, ideas straight from Wing Chun's core. This entire lineage shows that Wing Chun has never been frozen in time. It evolved as it spread, taking in new influences while still holding on to its heart and soul. Today there are many lineages and branches, Wing Chun, Wing Chun, Wing Chun, each one keeping the original teachings alive in its own way. The coolest thing? All those branches still connect back to the same roots, Ng Mui, Yim Wing Chun, and Ip Man. That's what gives the art not just its technical power, but its deep historical weight. Now let's dive into how Ip Man and Bruce Lee turned Wing Chun into a global phenomenon, exploring key dates, iconic movies, and moments that made this art explode across the world. Bruce Lee, and how Wing Chun blew up in the West in 1949. After the Communists won the Chinese Civil War, Ip Man had to escape to Hong Kong. That city was rough, crowded, poor, full of immigrants trying to survive. But it was exactly the kind of place where Wing Chun could take root and grow fast. Before that, Wing Chun was basically a secret, taught only in small family circles, almost hidden from the public. Ip Man changed all that when he opened his school and started teaching young people from all kinds of backgrounds. His method was revolutionary, simple, effective, and adaptable. You didn't need to be huge or super strong to make it work. Students trained using the famous Chai Sao or sticky hands, a sensitivity drill that helps you react instantly to any attack without even thinking. This hands-on, practical approach grabbed the attention of a teenager named Lee Junfan, better known as Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee started training with Ip Man in 1954, when he was just 13 years old, and stayed until he was about 18. And here's a cool little fact most people don't know. Bruce actually got into Wing Chun because he was constantly getting into street fights and gang brawls. One day, after getting beaten up, his father took him to meet Grandmaster Ip Man, hoping he'd learn how to defend himself, both on the streets and at school. Even though Bruce never finished learning the full Wing Chun system, he absorbed its core ideas: direct attacks, efficiency, and economy of movement. Later, when he moved to the United States, he mixed those ideas with other fighting styles and created Jeet Kune Do, which he called the style with no style. In the 1970s, after his movies The Big Boss, 1971, Fist of Fury, 1972, and especially Enter the Dragon, 1973, exploded worldwide, millions of people around the globe were introduced, even if indirectly, to the philosophy and techniques of Wing Chun. Bruce Lee became a global legend, and through him, the seed of Wing Chun was planted all across the Western world. After his sudden death in 1973, Ip Man's direct students, like Leung Ting Wang Shun Leung and Moy Yat, kept spreading the art even further. Wing Chun schools started popping up all over Europe, the Americas, and Oceania. From that point on, Wing Chun wasn't just a Chinese martial art anymore. It became one of the most influential fighting systems of the entire 20th century. The branches of Wing Chun around the world. When Bruce Lee and his students blew up worldwide, Wing Chun started spreading everywhere. And with that came a bunch of different lineages, each interpreting Ip Man's teachings in its own way. You'll see the name written and taught in all kinds of forms: Wing Chun, Wing Chun, Wing Chun, Wing Chun, and a few others. Same roots, different branches. For example, Leung Ting created the International Wing Chun Association, based in Hong Kong. But it didn't stay local for long. It spread like wildfire across Europe, especially in Germany, where Wing Chun got insanely popular. Then there's Wang Shun Leung, known for training fighters in real street fights. His super practical approach even influenced Bruce Lee when he was testing and refining his own fighting philosophy. In the United States, another student, Moy Yat, opened schools in New York City and ended up training hundreds of instructors who later spread the art all across the Americas. Meanwhile, other branches were popping up in London, Australia, and even Brazil, where Wing Chun started showing up in big city academies like Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. Each branch tried to keep the original spirit alive, but at the same time, They adapted the art to fit the culture and lifestyle of the people they were teaching. That's what made Wing Chun such a living system, rooted in tradition, but always evolving, finding new ways to teach and reach people everywhere. The Wing Chun of today, between tradition and modern times. These days, Wing Chun is practiced in over 70 countries and is known as one of the most popular martial arts in the world. But here's the thing. Its biggest challenge today is figuring out how to keep the old-school tradition alive while still adapting to the modern world. In a lot of schools, Wing Chun is taught mainly as self-defense. Its short, quick, and super direct moves are perfect for real-life situations, like in the streets or tight spaces, where every second counts. That's actually what made it so popular among regular people looking to protect themselves, especially women and young folks. But the digital age changed the game, big time. Now you see Wing Chun everywhere, in movies, TV shows, video games, and even streaming platforms. The Ip Man movie series, from 2008 to 2019, starring Donnie Yen, brought the art back into the spotlight and introduced it to a whole new generation. Those movies didn't just pay tribute to Ip Man's life, they showed how tradition and modern filmmaking can blend perfectly. Still, there's a lot of debate inside the Wing Chun community. Some people say the art should stay 100% true to what Ip Man taught. No changes, no experiments. But others think it needs to evolve, like being tested in MMA or updated to fit how fights really happen today. This constant push between tradition and progress is what keeps Wing Chun alive, always growing, always being talked about. The future of Wing Chun. Where are we headed? Looking ahead, the future of Wing Chun looks bright. But yeah, it's got its fair share of challenges too. In a world where things like MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu rule the fight scene, Wing Chun's got to prove it still matters. Lots of masters think the best way forward is to mix things up, keep the roots, the philosophy, the history alive, but also show that it really works in real-life situations. Then there are others who believe Wing Chun should stay pure, like a bridge that connects the old days to today, keeping that traditional spirit strong. But one thing's for sure, Wing Chun still pulls in thousands of people, not just for fighting, but for discipline, self-awareness, and balance. Like Bruce Lee, who was inspired by Wing Chun, once said, "Take what's useful, toss what's not, and add what's uniquely your own." Wing Chun, the art that never dies. Wing Chun was born in a time of persecution, grew in secret, and survived thanks to masters who truly believed in its power. It was passed from a nun to a young girl, crossed dynasties, wars, and even borders. Today it lives on in gyms, on movie screens, and in the hearts of those who seek more than just fighting. They're looking for balance between body, mind, and spirit. That's what makes Wing Chun so amazing. Doesn't matter if you're young or old, man or woman, strong or fragile, this art was made for everyone. And its history shows it's not just a fighting style, it's a living legacy. And so, from its legendary past to today, Wing Chun stands strong as a symbol of resilience and transformation. An art created by a woman, refined by masters, and immortalized by Bruce Lee. And so, from its legendary past to today, Wing Chun stands strong as a symbol of resilience and transformation. An art created by a woman, refined by masters, and immortalized by Bruce Lee. And if you're not following us yet, chances are we might never cross paths again. But if you're already part of this journey, know that here you'll learn about every martial art ever created, where it came from, how it evolved, and the secrets behind each one. So, if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and drop your comment below. Now here's the question. Which martial art do you want to explore next? Maybe the classic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Or something almost secret like Kisi, the one Batman used in Batman Begins in The Dark Knight? Write your choice down in the comments, because maybe the next video will reveal secrets that few have ever imagined. Until our next journey.